Nothing puts a target on your back like a huge fee. And after the restrained summer of 2020, both press and fans had the knives out when big spending returned in 2021. £50 million Ben White was proclaimed overpriced before he was even pictured in an Arsenal shirt. £73 million Jadon Sancho was written off at 21 after a month back in England, and £102 million Romelu Lukaku's fairy tale homecoming at Chelsea has prompted discord between player, coach and fans, with absolutely nobody enjoying the Belgians' appearances in the blue shirt. So while City have looked like Europe's best club for most of the current season, that hasn't spared Jack Grealish criticism. The attacker became the most expensive English player in history last summer, and the 7th biggest transfer ever. But nearly a year on, he's not a starter of a club or country, reduced from the centrepiece of an overperforming Villa side which showcases unpredictable genius to a cog in the relentless machine of Pep's Man City. That meant it was a matter of time until the F word came out. And so we're taking a look back at Grealish's first season to see if the abuse is fair. Is Grealish playing the same way? What is he doing well and badly? And is there hope for him to succeed with the Sky Blues? Football Daily Explained this week is our attempt to work it out. It's not especially surprising that the idea Grealish has flopped has spread. At a reported cost of £105 million, the England international was not only City's most expensive signing ever, but Pep Guardiola's too, costing over £40 million more than anyone else the Spaniard has ever bought. And it probably didn't help that Grealish was the most fouled player in the league over the previous 2 seasons, winning a free kick every 17.9 minutes, meaning that by almost every football fan in the country felt the Birmingham native had cheated their side in some way, and were only too happy to see him falter. But even the most generous observer would have to admit to expecting more. After 30 match weeks, Grealish is yet to make himself a nailed-on starter at the Etihad, with 10 City players racking up more minutes, including 4 attackers. And while Grealish defenders will note that Pep's complicated system requires time to learn, pointing to the way Foden and Jesus were eased into the lineup, both those players were teenagers when they joined the senior side, while Grealish arrived in Manchester at 25, theoretically primed to settle quickly. Among City's squad, 8 players have more goals in league play than the number 10, and 8 have more assists, with centre-back Ruben Diaz actually boasting 1 more goal involvement than Grealish's wretched 4, and Ferran Torres only trailing by 1 despite exiting the club 3 months ago. The story is no better in European competition, where Grealish has netted 1 and created 1, and with just 8 games of the season remaining, he'd need to produce another 12 contributions to match his tally from last season, when he was playing in a Villa team outscored by 8 other sides in the division and missed nearly a third of the year with injury. And while we would advise this method of looking at goals, neither of his strikes have won City a game, while even maligned Romelu Lukaku has turned 3 draws into wins with his goals. Put simply, the last time Grealish had a strike rate this poor, he was still Irish. And unless City win the Champions League due to his individual brilliance, it will be hard for him to escape this season without the sense that his biggest achievement was signing a brand deal with Gucci. But maybe it's not all quite so simple. While we at FD have long made the argument that stats can enhance our understanding of what we see on the football pitch, easy access to numbers hasn't necessarily been accompanied by great understanding of how to use them. Grealish's top-line stats are miserable, sure, but are players only good when they're involved in goals? What about creators? Where's the line between bad and fine, between fine and good? It may seem a simple question, but it's worth noting that one of Guardiola's best ever players, Andres Iniesta, only got over 10 goal involvements 4 times in 16 years at Barca, and in his 25-year-old season managed 4 strikes and assists in La Liga. Barcelona didn't mind too much, they got 99 points that year and won the league with ease. Is it sacrilege to compare Grealish to Iniesta? Maybe to some. But like the Catalan, his contribution this term is undervalued by focusing only on 2 numbers, and is better appreciated if you see him less as a left winger and more as a midfielder driving play into the danger zone. Besides, if stats can be used against Grealish, they can be used for him too. Here are FB refs ratings for his passing and ball carrying, with the red numbers next to the bars representing the percentage of players in his position who rank below Grealish for that metric. That's a lot of green, almost as much as Grealish will pick up from Gucci. But it's worth taking a closer look to explain why these numbers actually matter. City's game plan is based around pinning opponents back in the defensive third, mopping up any attempted outballs and gradually moving defenders around until a path to goal opens up. The citizens spend 37% of their game time in the opposition third, 2% more than second place Liverpool and 6% more than third place Brighton. And Grealish is absolutely vital in getting them there in the first place. When he plays, he gets on the ball as much as Phil Foden and plays more progressive passes than his international teammate or Bernardo Silva. While in the Champions League, he takes more touches than both of them and De Bruyne. Impressive given that he plays more passes under pressure than 94% of the people in his position, with defenders increasingly doubling up on him. Still, if Brighton are the third most territorial dominant side in the Prem, getting into the final third clearly isn't that big a deal. You have to do something once you get there. Unfortunately, Grealish is not just good, but perhaps the best in the world for ramping up danger of City's possession. His passing is still an asset here. 1.8 passes into the box outranks 82% of attacking midfielders, even if it's beaten by 4 of his City teammates. But it's Grealish's ability to glide past opponents which marks him out as special. With 14 progressive carries, runs with the ball which move the team at least 15 yards closer to goal, he's comfortably top of the Prem and in fact first in Europe's top 5 leagues, knocking Vinicius Jr. and Leo Messi into second and third. And when it comes to taking the ball into the box itself, the gap between Grealish and his rivals is even larger, with 4.2 carries into the penalty area per game, again beating Vinicius into second, miles behind on just 3.2. That's right, Grealish runs into the area a whole extra time each game than the next best player in the world, perhaps explaining why he's 23rd in Europe for chances created per 90, just behind Thomas Muller. In fact, expected goals suggest that if he and his teammates had finished at an average rate this season, he'd had 5 assists, as well as 4 goals of his own, making for a tally of 9 goal contributions in 1,500 minutes, a much more respectable total. He even manages to offer himself as an outlet at an exceptional rate, receiving over 9 progressive passes himself every match played, the same as Robert Lewandowski, meaning opponents can never take their eyes off him. If he's on the ball, he's an enormous threat. If he's off the ball, he's moving into dangerous positions, ready to get played in by a teammate. None of this is to say Grealish's major stats are good. He needs to start scoring and assisting more, and with City facing the sharp end of their Champions League campaign and a tight run-in with Liverpool, now would be a great time for him to find his shooting boots. But has he been bad? By no stretch of the imagination, especially as he's still adapting to Guardiola football, notoriously complicated to learn, and a sharp contrast to his free role at Aston Villa. Perhaps the problem here is that fans and pundits think of Grealish differently from Pep. And if this is Pep's plan for getting the best from his marquee signing, it's hard to say that it isn't working. While pundits continue to talk about managers knowing their best 11, if one coach in world football doesn't work that way, it's Pep Guardiola. Aymeric Laporte made the Premier League team of the season in 2018-19, but played just 31 league matches in the next 2 campaigns. Bernardo Silva was the club's player of the year in 18-19, but started only 23 times in 19-20. So even established Pep favourites are used to spending time on the bench, and despite his price tag, Grealish is likely to follow suit. He can also find comfort in the example of Riyad Mahrez. Picked up for a then club record £60 million in 2018, the Algerian nonetheless made only 14 starts in his maiden campaign at the Etihad, and in 4 seasons is yet to pass 2,000 minutes in a single year. But that doesn't stop him being a vital part of the Sky Blues' setup, with 14 goals and assists in just 12 starts this term, as well as appearing in every one of City's Champions League matches to boast an overall strike rate of a contribution every 93 minutes. All this suggests that Pep's selections are less about creating a nailed-on lineup he turns out rain or shine, and more about matching his team to a task in front of them. An indication that after Grealish is fully bedded in, he will be put in a position to produce his best football. And if rumoured departures for Sterling and Gabriel Jesus do come to pass, there'll be an even clearer path to regular game time for the former Villa star. While Mahrez is now 31 and De Bruyne 30, far from finished, but unlikely to still be starters in 3 years' time, when Grealish will be 29. Whatever the question marks over his first year in Manchester, City didn't buy Grealish for 12 months of production, but to have him play a key role in the next phase of City's evolution. Given both his and Pep's track records, it would be unwise to bet against him. So that was our FD Explained on Is Jack Grealish a Man City flop? Let us know what you think down below in the comment section. If you want to see more Football Daily content, then click on screen right now to watch the chase. And as always, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.